And you're always on the road. You've got to stay on the beam. You travel a lot. Like, are there any like throughout the day things that you do just to like recenter?
It's usually fitness, because if I'm feeling anxiety or stressed out or anything, I feel like a pressure cooker. So if I can just like let out some of the steam, and usually that's like sweating. So if it's even going into a sauna or going and hitting a Metcon or running, I feel like that is always, I always get done, and I feel like I've like exhausted the demons that have been swirling in my head.
I think that's one of the keys to our success, and especially in the early days when we were doing this 7 days a week, 18-hour days, we always made time to get to the gym at least for an hour every day, because that to me does wonders for your mental health, clarity, thinking, and recentering.
An entrepreneur straight out of New York City, Michael Chernow. What's cracking?
When did you launch Podium?
Fall of 2021.
Fall of 2021. So you guys are, and that's your first products business, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of learning on as you go as well.
Yeah, we were lucky. We have a really good business partner, Paul, that has done this a lot before. Mm-hmm. He had worked with Cellucor, he had worked with Ghost Life Nutrition, and so he handled and had the knowledge of like all the stuff you were just talking about, 3PL, bottling, packaging.
Yeah, this has been such a journey for me, just like going from, I mean, the story of Creatures of Habit was I'd sold a bunch of equity at my last restaurant concept in New York in November of 2019. I was going to open up a restaurant in New York called Creatures of Habit that was going to be just like a wellness-focused restaurant. Awesome, delicious food with a really good vibe, but it was just going to be better for you, right? Like in New York, you would imagine there'd be like healthy restaurants, right? Like it's a massive city. There's 24,000 restaurants in New York City, 8 million people plus. But if you wanted to get like a healthy meal, you just ended up going to like a vegan restaurant. That was it. Like it's like a vegan.
Because that's healthy.
Yeah, right. It's like healthy food. Oh, you just go to the place where there's, like hippies. Like that's it. And they're all eating vegan food.
Tofu.
And so there was not like a great restaurant in New York City that you'd want to chill at with your friends, date night, whatever, that you weren't getting like a 7,000 calorie steak, because typically in New York, like, you want the food to taste incredibly good. So you take, a ribeye with like a quarter stick of butter, and that's how you cook it, and you put it out on the table, and everybody,
taste awesome.
It's going to taste insane. Yeah. It's literally a 4,000 calorie steak, right? So I just wanted to create a place that gave you an awesome ribeye, but was cooked in like, avocado oil, like easy, just better for you, just not like overdone fat for no reason. Anyway, the pandemic hit, right? And
rough time to start a restaurant.
Yeah. Rough time to start a restaurant. And so for me, I spent my whole entire life in restaurants from 12 years old till 39 when I sold Seymour's. And I just was like, oh my God, my fucking life is over. Like career, like what am I gonna do? Like I had just no idea, because within 6 weeks of the pandemic, the city shut every single restaurant down. You could not open. And staff were out. Like they were like, how am I gonna live? Like what do we, No one knew what to do. It was kind of like, like it was like suicide for a lot of big restaurants. And I was just like, I got so lucky. I sold equity at my company, 2 months before the pandemic, 3 months before the pandemic. So I just had to like rethink, and that's how I ended up in CPG. I was like, all right, I'm gonna figure out a way to just do what I love to do, passion-wise, aligning with wellness. I'm just gonna draw a line through the restaurant and try to learn this digital business.
It's a good pivot.
You guys are legendary in the world of fitness, specifically around the CrossFit world, and now expanding into other arenas. I just want to talk to you about CrossFit. I want to talk to you about CrossFit because I think, the thing that I love most about CrossFit, and I think it's overlooked with all this CrossFit hoopla that's been happening since the games kind of 2 years ago, is the community component of CrossFit, right? Like that is the beauty in that sport, I think. And obviously it's amazing to challenge yourself and put up big numbers, but I just want to get your take on CrossFit prior to like the CrossFit stuff and kind of where it is now and like what you think is happening.
Well, prior to everything that happened in 2024, well, I mean, a little bit of backstory, like we worked for that company for many years. Me and Heber created documentaries and kind of helped grow the media department back in 2011 through 2018. And then they fired everybody. And that was when everything started taking a very different change, and they were going to go a different direction. They were more focused on broader health of people getting into gyms rather than the tip of the spear, which was like what we were a lot more involved with like the pro athletes and stuff like that. So we saw that shift, and if they didn't want to make that content for themselves and tell their own story about that, which was kind of crazy because I feel like media and eyeballs is what drives a lot of your, revenue. And so we decided to do it ourselves, and we went out and self-funded it and made documentaries about that. And so since that day, it's kind of been a very different route that they've taken. And I feel like a lot of the things that they're doing now is a lot more back to what their roots were back in those days that we were working there. But from about 2018, 19 through up till 2024, it was a very different shift in the brand of CrossFit. I still think that the community was very strong and very eager to keep going out and watching events and being a part of like the CrossFit Open and everything like that, even though the maybe like the leadership and the direction that the CrossFit brand was going was a little bit different. But overall, I think that the online presence of the CrossFit community kind of shifted, where it started becoming a little bit more divisive in some areas because people were more skeptical of watching people move rather than just encouraging them to do that. And I feel like that kind of created a little bit of like these online, like movement experts that can just kind of like break down people's movement and stuff like that. And I feel like that has kind of fractured a little bit and made some of the community like pitted against each other in itself, when, back in the day, it was just like, oh, you do CrossFit, I do CrossFit. Cool. We're kind of into the similar interested thing. And
real quick, when you say like people kind of like scrutinizing movement and like that was like a big sort of uproar, do you mean like people being like, oh, CrossFit's just not good for you because you're just going to get injured doing these things? Was that like
there was that like narrative going around, but there was also just people online that were like, you didn't hit depth on your wall ball, I'm going to put you on the internet and make you look like a fool.
I think that the original argument that the movements in CrossFit got you injured united the people doing CrossFit that were healthy. Like I've been doing CrossFit since 2009 or 8 and not really ever had a really serious injury that required me to have to see a medical professional. And so outside of the community, people were attacking us saying like, oh man, those pull-ups are really going to hurt your shoulders. And all of us inside that were doing it were like, man, my shoulders feel healthy. I feel fine. But then because the fight stopped going outside and started going inside, that's where it really became divisive, where we were critiquing each other as opposed to defending the space. And so I think CrossFit sort of lost its voice for a while because they didn't have any media. They've actually done a really good job since roughly the last 4 or 5 months with great media, helping tell these stories about the athletes, about the space, the community, and saying things that would have been said internally in 2017 when we were there. But the community is still a little bit divided, and it'll be interesting to see if they are able to bring that community back together and reignite the kind of soul that was there years ago that feels like it's not really been as present as it needs to be for that sporting community.
I mean, I think like what they've done, I think one of the coolest things about CrossFit, like community aside, is that the top dogs, the pros, male and female, they don't feel so inaccessible, right? Like there's this like level of like, okay, so if you're a CrossFit athlete and you're, you know, in South Florida, you could go to, you know, Noah Olson's gym and actually see him work out there, right? Like you could hop in and work out with that guy, right? Like you can go to these events and the athletes are like walking around, you know, like I feel like that piece makes it also feel like this inclusive thing, right? I feel the other thing also, just to touch on what you said about just like the critics outside and, you know, potentially haters just being like, oh yeah, like that, you know, that chest to bar, like he actually missed his chest, like that, put that guy on the blacklist, or, you know, kipping pull-ups are just gonna blow out your shoulders. I do think that there probably is some element to that. And I do think that, you know, it depends on the CrossFit gym that you go to, right? Like, and how you are brought into the sport. Like I remember when I first walked into CrossFit, it was about a year after we launched Creatures of Habit. The team that worked with me at Creatures was like, yo man, like you're competing in bodybuilding. Like that's such like a weird subculture thing. like there's a community of people that are really using our product in CrossFit. And that's like our number one community of people. Like you need to start doing CrossFit. And I was like, boom, done. Like next day I found like the closest CrossFit gym to me. And I'm thinking to myself, I've been training for years. I'm thinking to myself, I'm just going to walk in there and start training. And the dude that owned that gym, it's called Railroad CrossFit. I walk in and he's like, hey, you know, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I just want to train, you know? And he's like, well, you know, he's like, set up an appointment with me and come back tomorrow. We have a 90-day interview, a 90-minute interview process. And I'm like, huh? Like, you want to sit down and interview me for 90 minutes? He's like, yeah, well, you know, we have a really strong community here and we like to get to know people before we just like bring them into the community. So if you're interested in that, like, you know, we set up a 90-minute meeting. And I was like, I walked out of there and I set up the meeting and I was like, this is different. You know, this is different. And so I sat down and I met with Sean and we talked and he asked me all these questions about my life and my history and my family and like what, you know, like everything. And I was like, holy smokes, like this is like this is like the stuff that I heard about the CrossFit world was like, and obviously I think it's different gym to gym, but this guy took this very seriously, you know? And then there was like a 4-week on-ramp where they did not let me train with anybody else. Like I could not train. I was with one guy for 4 weeks. He walked me through every single movement, wanted to see my range of motion, wanted to see how I was able to move on the floor. Like, and so my introduction to CrossFit was like serious, and they did not let me lift heavy weight. Like Olympic lifting for that first year, barely put weight on the bar. He was just like, look, man, like this is what it is here. There's another place down the road where, you know, you can go. You're gonna get fucked up. You know what I mean? So I have a deep respect for that, you know, a deep respect for it. And it was sad for me to see like what happened.
Yeah, that's really good. Like that's interesting to hear, because I mean that's really good coaching and really good intention behind, you know, what he's putting into the athletes walking into the gym. So there's a wide variety of that. Obviously not every gym is probably that thorough.
Yep.
But it is really cool that there is gyms out there that want to bring you in and like make sure you're a good fit to the community and that you're going to go there with the right motive, I guess, to fit into the culture, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he was straight up with me. He was like, as soon as I walked in, he was like, you know, a lot of our members are 40 plus. And he's like, you're walking in a tank top with a shaved head and bleached blonde hair and tattoos. And like, we want to make sure that you're a nice guy and you're not going to steal things out of the locker room. And I was like, I'm not going to steal things out of the locker room, that I promise, you know? But so, yeah, like when, you know, obviously, I mean, Monday morning quarterbacking is like such a shitty thing to do in every aspect. And obviously what happened to like Lazar in 24 was like terrible, right? It was terrible across the board. But I do think that put such a damper on us on the sport as a whole.
Yeah, the sport needed a win, and it had a pretty big loss at that time.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I haven't heard a lot about CrossFit. So I was excited to have you guys on here because I would love to just understand like where you guys are with CrossFit, like where you're standing with it. I mean, you mentioned that they've done a lot better in the last 4 to 5 months. So it's good to hear that. But so many CrossFit athletes are now transitioning over to HYROX, right?
I think it depends on what you mean by athlete. If it's people that have been attending a CrossFit gym in the past that are now also doing a HYROX, I think CrossFit gyms are a great place to train for HYROX things. If you're talking about athletes like Tia or Ricky Garrard, who you've seen attend and participate in a HYROX event, Tia even going to the World Championships, she still went on to win the CrossFit Games in 2025.
Right.
So she's not like leaving CrossFit to go do HYROX, but that's the beauty of HYROX is it has such a low barrier to entry and you can do it as almost like a weekend 10K where it probably isn't going to impact top level CrossFit athletes in their training so they can continue on and in their pursuit of becoming the fittest person in the sport of CrossFit. But yeah, so they're not necessarily leaving, but they are participating because HYROX is a really fun and awesome way to test your fitness.
Are you guys doing a lot of stuff? Are you going to HYROX events like you go to the CrossFit events and making content?
Yeah, I mean, we've been to 3 HYROX events ourselves. We've done like a relay, we've done a couple of doubles, and we've also been to like 2 of their world championships. So, you know, we still go to CrossFit events occasionally, and we're still going and trying to just see what else is out there and tell cool stories about what emerging athletes are out in the space. For a long time, Lauren Weeks, who's like the world champion, she's probably like considered one of the best ever to do HYROX, went to our gym here in Salt Lake. So we got to know her really well. And it was like right when HYROX was kind of starting out, and we were kind of just getting to know her, getting to know the space. And then, you know, I think she's won like 4 now. Has she won 4? 3? So she's won 3 of them. And yeah, we were just in Chicago this last World Championships, kind of following her around, watching, you know, what's kind of emerging in that space as far as the elite field goes. But it's pretty interesting because I feel like for the long time, CrossFit used their, you know, fittest on earth and the best people in the sport as a way to like, you know, show the best of the best and get people in the doors and stuff. And I feel like HYROX doesn't necessarily need to rely on the best of the best because it is a mass participation sport event, you know? So although those people in HYROX, I think, bring a lot of credibility to what the best of the best can do, I don't think that it's necessary, like,
yeah. Have you been to a HYROX?
Yeah, I've done 3.
Do you know
myself.
who won the last years for the men or women?
It's that guy, Hunter McIntyre.
Nope.
No?
No.
He's won it before, but not this last year.
Yeah.
Oh, he lost this year. Yeah. I think, well, the guy who's the guy? He's like a tall, skinny guy. No?
Call him Tiny Tim. So there's Tiny Tim, and then I can't even remember the woman's name. She's fantastic. She's out of Germany, I want to say. Joanna, maybe?
Yeah.
But that's the point, though, is like, you participate and you're very familiar with the sport, but you might not know who the leaders of the sport are. Mm-hmm. You definitely have heard of Hunter McIntyre. Maybe you've heard of Lauren Weeks or Meg Jacoby, who won it last year.
Meg Jacoby, right? Yeah.
But like, they're not marketing them like CrossFit was, the elite athletes. They're very much focused on, like, the way that they're winning is the everyday person that shows up and competes every weekend is treated very similar to the top 15 that compete at the finals. Mm-hmm. Definitely when you're in the elite 15 at world championships, it's a different level. But like if I show up and go do a heat of doubles, I'm getting a really incredible user experience on site for HYROX. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of fun doing HYROX. And by the way, like anybody listening right now that has not done a HYROX, like the cool thing about it is that you're racing against the clock, right? Like it's you putting your best effort out there, and the experience for every single person doing the race is the same. and every single person gets to run up that ramp and like fall on their back and like feel what that feels like, right? And see what their time is, and it's cool.
The finishing ramp and the starting like
The
cleats
start
and that?
is where like that was what kind of what won me over when we first went. We went to one in Houston.
Yeah.
And they get you in that like corral, and they got TVs, and it's like they got an announcer, and he's like putting together like, what's your intent here? Like, remember why you're doing
Getting
this?
everybody riled up.
And then you run out, and you run out way too fast because you're so amped up, and then you fall into a
But it's
slow pace.
hard. It like if you're trying
It's
to
really
put
hard.
work in, it's hard.
I'm
It
yet
is
to do
hard.
a single. I don't know.
Yeah, we
There's
haven't done
nowhere to hide.
individual yet.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I've done doubles.
Doubles
I've had
is
a
where
good
it's
time.
at.
Doubles is fun.
Yeah.
Totally fun. Like I
Still hard.
Always because I feel like it's just fun. Like from your guys' experience, and you guys are master storytellers, right? Like that's kind of what you've built your whole thing on. The Buttery Bros is known as telling like these great stories with a lot of levity and a lot of fun, and you make people laugh, and you just have a really cool way of capturing moments that I've just been a big fan of.
Thanks,
so
man.
I'm stoked that I've been able to get you guys here because I'm in Utah, and I was like, hey, like let me get these guys on if I can. Have you felt like a difference from the limited amount of time you spent in the HYROX world to the communities, like the people that are there? Does it feel similar, CrossFit?
I think it feels similar because I mean we go to those events, and we just did a video about this, about like what is a hybrid athlete. It just came out yesterday on our YouTube channel, so you can go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're there, we're like asking people like, what kind of athlete are you? Like, what do you consider yourself? Are you a CrossFit athlete, or are you a hybrid athlete?
train?
What do you train? And you get a lot of mixed answers, but there is a very big CrossFit community there because we didn't come from HYROX. We came from CrossFit. We go to these HYROX events, and people know who we are just because of our CrossFit backgrounds, and people will very openly talk about their CrossFitting background. And then maybe some people will say like, I used to be a CrossFitter, now I'm a hybrid athlete. And I'm like, isn't that kind of the same thing? I don't know. So there's this like shift in, I don't know, the culture of CrossFit and in
Fitness,
in fitness right now, where 10 years ago, if you were doing mixed modality stuff, you would just be called a CrossFitter. But now it's like this new, I don't know, split, where if it's just good marketing, or if it was, a combination of many different
I don't
things.
even know who the marketing's for, like we've said that, but like the more I think about that term, hybrid is good marketing, but who's benefiting from that voice?
I mean, the only thing that I've sort of concluded in the difference between what it would be like training for a HYROX or just doing CrossFit in general, because like people are like training for a HYROX, right? When you're doing CrossFit, you're just doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
Right? You're not like, there is such a small percentage of people in the world of CrossFit that are actually training for competition, right?
Yeah.
It's just like a great place.
It's a great general physical preparedness.
Great, exactly, right? Like you're going to touch all body parts every workout, and it's just a great system as far as I'm concerned, if you're doing it in the right environment with the right coaching, right? But like people are training for HYROX, right? And I think the difference is that the running is such a big piece of it. So when I think of like the hybrid athlete today, I'm thinking of someone who is like running multiple times a week and doing some strength training, typically like not at the same time. And that could be totally my interpretation of hybrid athlete. I'm like, I just like to train, right?
Yeah,
And
me
so I feel like categorizing, like it's not baseball, it's not football, it's not basketball, it's not soccer. It's like if you're training and you want to be a healthy person,
And what do all those sports do?
cross train.
They all train.
Yeah, they all train. So I just think like training is, I feel like mixing up your training is such a great thing to do in general. Running is awesome, but it's also arguably one of like, in my opinion, one of the worst things for your body, like long distance running. There's like this big craze with ultra running, right? And it's just like the pounding on your body long term is just not good. Like the constant running a marathon is an awesome feat. I've done it a few times, and it's fun and it's hard as hell. But I just think that like you don't need to run 100 miles to like you just you know what I'm saying? You don't need to do it. It's like, who are you doing it for? And this is a question that I've been asking myself a lot too as I get older. I mean, I'm 45 now, and it's even weird for me to say that out loud, right? But I am. I'm 45. I've been training a long time. And I started asking myself this question like in my training. And I'm wondering what your perspective is on this. Who is it for? Like, who is it for? Who am I training for? Am I training for you? Because I have been doing that a lot, actually. When I really sit down and reflect over the years, like, who have I been training for? Is it for me or is it for you? And once I got real with that question and answered that question honestly, a lot of the training that I've done over the years, from competitive Muay Thai kickboxing to long distance running to bodybuilding, I really answered the question in a way that didn't feel good, which was, I've been doing it for fucking you. Like, I haven't been doing it for my mental health. Of course, my mental health is a big piece of it, and I obviously want to look good, but I have also had this piece of all this training that's been like, I want to look good for someone else. And I don't think that there's anything necessarily overtly wrong with that, but I do think that a lot of these like ultra runners and like a lot of this like extreme fitness has just has made it really hard for the people that are just trying to get fit feel good about what they're doing.
Sure.
You know, what do you think about that?
Me personally, I think there's a combination, because like 9 times out of the 10 of the workouts I do is for me, just to like feel good. And that's, you know, a good way to have mental clarity and feel endorphins and feel like I'm capable of doing most things that life asks me to do. But then again, we make content. So we sit around and we're like, hey, well, let's think of some content and some things that would look good on video. You know, it's like, you know, I'm not going to eat, you know, a dozen donuts and run on a treadmill like I did for that video. That was kind of for the content, you know what I mean? Like, so we do.
That was for your entertainment.
Yeah. And I mean, so I feel like most of the time it's for me, and it's for, you know, like what's required of my relationship, and like to be able to stay active and I just had a kid, so I want to be able to have energy and be able to take care of him as I get older, and I don't want to be limited by my physical abilities. So a lot of it's for me, some of it's for you know.
There's definitely times where I'm peer pressured into doing things that I don't want to do for other people. Prime example is like we're talking about, we're registered right now to do the Taco Bell 50K next year in Denver, where you run 50K and stop at 10 different Taco Bells and eat food. I would never do that for myself, other than like, it kind of sounds fun. But I definitely, like, if I go to the gym, there's multiple things. I'm doing it for my kids and my wife and my relationships that matter to me, because I'm a better human and person after I've cleared my cache in a way and gotten in the gym and trained for myself. And so I can be more present with them. And then there's, again, the times where I have to go do something for other people, because I mean, that's also a mixed bag, because as dumb as it sounds and as entertaining as the Talk About 50K sounds, it kind of also sounds fun. So most of the challenges we do that are for other people's entertainment are a lot of the time selfish ways to get myself involved into those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, fitness saved my life 100%. It saved and saves my life. And I've said many times, you know, I do put myself first, before my wife and before my kids, in regards to how I take care of myself. So I show up as the best dad, the best husband, the best business partner. And it really all boils down to fitness. It just does. Yeah. For me. And also nutrition, like what I put into my body and how I think about that stuff. But there was this real moment where I was kind of like at this place with fitness where it was probably about 1.5 years ago, and I was just picking up too much weight off the ground. Like, I was just picking up too much weight. And I was like, why am I picking up too much weight? Like, why do I find it necessary to feel the need to have to pick up over 400 pounds off of the ground. And then that's when I started questioning myself, like, okay, dude, like, are you doing this for the people that are around you at the gym? Like, is that why you're, doing a CrossFit workout and deadlifts on the agenda? And like, you're going to push yourself because you want to get like a round of applause. And it's just like kind of started to put things into perspective a little bit for me. And I would hate to say that it's because I'm creeping into that middle age range that I'm like starting to think about my fitness a little differently. But that piece really kind of like, I haven't put 135 pounds really on a bar at all in the last year. Like more than 135 pounds. I've just kind of like really thought about my fitness as like, hey man, like you want to be able to run around with your kids until they leave your house. And like being injured because you feel like it's necessary to like deadlift 415 pounds doesn't make sense for me anymore. Like, do you find it necessary, Mike, to squat 375 pounds? It just doesn't make sense for me anymore. And that's also kind of why I like the HYROX thing, because it's like they're not asking you to like do hard injury prone things, like you can really get into it. And but I want to talk to you guys also about your habits, because we are on the Kreatures of Habit podcast. And what has been fascinating for me over the years, especially on the podcast, is getting to meet people and people that are inspiring for me and inspiring for others. Like, what the hell do they do in the morning? Like, what does a morning routine look like for you guys? How important is a morning routine for you?
Well, my morning routine.
Yeah, what's going on in your mornings lately, bro?
Dude. So I've got a 3-month-old, and there's, I feel like I get waterboarded every night. I'm like, we gonna sleep tonight? No. So my morning routine is just like kind of all over the place. But at the moment, like if he's cooperating, like I'll take him first thing, and I'll try to like let Caitlin sleep, because she's doing way more of the heavy lifting than I am. Like, she has to feed him. And that was like one of the biggest takeaways from becoming a dad, was just like the breastfeeding. I was like, I had no idea how much a woman had to do that. And I was just like round the clock all the time. But anyways, so I'll take him in the morning and I'll go downstairs. I'll make coffee. I'll just try to be with him and, try to bring him into the day in a nice, inviting and soft, way.
What time is that around typically?
It's usually between like 7 and 8 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so I like to do that. And then I like to journal in the morning. Usually that's something that like kind of clears my head. And I like to like almost write what I did the day before and what I got out of it, things that I think I could do better going into this day. And that kind of sets my like, because I got a lot of stuff like swirling in my head a lot. Mm-hmm. And if I don't kind of like materialize it onto a computer or page or whatever, then it kind of just swirls, and I feel like I don't have a clear intention for the day. And then still sometimes it happens, like I'll go to change him, put a new diaper on him, and then he'll shit on me, and I'm just like, okay, well we would deal with this, So it's like I'm dealing with like a lot of new things right now in my world as far as a morning routine. Like when we're traveling a lot and going to different gyms and kind of in and out of a lot of places, it's a very different routine than when I'm at home. But right now, just being intentional with how I can help assist my partner and take care of my little boy as best I can, because I'm a noob to the dad thing,
My personal opinion, and you probably are going to not like this based on your habit thing, but I think morning routines are kind of overrated because, and that's mainly probably out of jealousy because I don't really have a good one, because the job I have requires me to be doing something very different almost daily. So like last week, there was a day where I basically just woke up and went downstairs and sat on my computer for 16 hours to finish a video and editing. And that was basically all I had time for that entire day, other than like breaking to go have dinner with my kids. But then like this morning, I had control over my time and I wanted to be here and very present. So I got up, got in the sun, went for a quick little walk, hung out with my kids, did some contrast between the cold plunge and the sauna, and then made my way out here. And like, if I could do that every morning, I would 100% do that, because I'm very, it wakes you up, it puts you in a positive attitude. Like the mind shift that comes out of the endorphins that you get out of cold plunging in the morning for me are awesome. I love that. But if I can't do that, I at least try to get in a cold shower and a big breakfast when I can.
Cold shower sucks.
Yeah, he did it before it was cool too. I was like, wait, because I go in there after him and it's cold always, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah, we don't go in together.
Yo, I was like, you can do a hot one. Do you ever do a hot one? He's like, sometimes. I'm like,
sometimes.
What is the occasion for a hot shower?
You know what's the beauty of cold showers though? It just takes your shower time from like 7 minutes to about a minute.
It'll slow it down
you're in
real
and out,
quick.
dude.
Yeah.
That's quick.
Yeah. I honestly sometimes think, because I also do love cold exposure in any way. You know, I don't know if I believe the hype with all the science, but I do know that I just feel like RoboCop when I get out.
Yeah, you feel good for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
the science is, every week there's a new thing that's conflicting with the previous week's science about it. But I think in general, you can't take away the positive like energy you get coming out of it. I think the
totally.
Yeah, exactly. It's the ultimate espresso. I wouldn't know. I don't drink coffee. But I think the arguments against it are it's bad for hypertrophy and building muscle, which, okay, yeah, I don't usually go have a huge leg day or get a bicep pump and then go sit in the ice bath. If I do it after working out, it's usually after
I lean on that
zone
one a
2 or
lot.
biking.
Well, you know what they have been saying, which is really interesting, which kind of actually makes sense, is if you do it before a workout, you actually get a better workout because it really sort of helps you with inflammation.
That's what Joe Rogan does.
He does it before his workout?
Yeah. I thought I think I got away from doing it because of Matt Fraser. Were you with me when Matt talked about this?
Yeah.
He was like, I don't like to do it before because then I envision my muscles as being brittle. I was like, and so I'm worried that they'll break.
Get them hot.
And I'm like, now that I think about it, like I just assumed that I was probably right because it was Matt Fraser. He's a go. But now thinking about it, I was like, I don't think the muscles work like that. They don't get, like, as long as you can rewarm them back up, it's probably a great way to.
Yeah, I leaned into the hypertrophy thing, like, because we'll be in the sauna and Caitlin's like, you going to get in the cold? And I'm like,
Nah,
I lifted weights today, so, I don't want to stunt the growth of my gains. So I'm just going to go back inside.
Totally. And that's like such an excuse that I use too. I just got the new Plunge G2 all-in.
Oh, dude, those are nice.
Dude.
All built in.
The thing is it's so weird because I've had a Plunge from that company for a long time.
Do you have the V1?
The V1.
We got the V1s.
So I have the V1. And by the way, like that thing still kicks ass.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
like
cooking.
Just not like hassle free, right? Going, anyway, I got the new one and it's big. Compared to the one that I had, it's just like you get in there and you feel like you're in like a pool.
Yeah.
Did you get like the bigger version of it?
XL.
I got the big joint.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's a two-person joint.
We've done a duo. We do bunk beds all the time.
The weird thing about it is that I don't know if it has anything to do with the size, and it could be complete placebo for me. But in this case, size does matter because I don't feel as cold in the big one as I did.
Oh.
And the temperature was always the same. 39 degrees is where I
39.
keep it at 39.
I'm a 45 guy.
I keep it 39.
Dang.
And I don't know, man. Like the experience in that new Plunge G2 has been amazing.
Yeah.
Like I just love that thing. So anybody looking for a cold plunge, that would be the one. I would highly recommend that thing. But do you guys have anything like, you're always on the road. You've got to stay on the beam. You travel a lot. Like, are there any like throughout the day things that you do just to like recenter ever? Do you ever think about that? Like, all right, I'm like overwhelmed. I got a lot of shit going on. Like, is there any quick little thing that you do that can just kind of bring you back?
It's usually fitness, because if I'm feeling anxiety or stressed out or anything, if I can go, I feel like a pressure cooker. So if I can just like let out some of the steam, and usually that's like sweating. So if it's even going into a sauna or going and hitting a Metcon or running. I feel like that is always, I always get done, and I feel like I've like exhausted the demons that have been swirling in my head. And that's how I can like recenter. Usually that takes time. It's not like I can just like snap my fingers and like recenter or like have some mantra, but that's what I do.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. If we're on the road, I think that's one of the keys to our success, and especially in the early days when we were doing this 7 days a week, 18-hour days, we always made time to get to the gym at least for an hour every day. And so, and even back, like I have a long history of doing really stupid long sleepless nights, but always making it a priority at some point in the day to get in a workout, because that to me does wonders for your mental health, clarity, thinking, and recentering for sure.
What about wind down? I know it's hard when you're on the road so much, but if you're like an ideal scenario, you're at home with the fam, like, do you have a wind down routine that you like?
Well, I mean, some of the winding down is to like separate myself from my phone, because I'm like, I feel like I have like a jerk, and then we go, all of a sudden I'm on Instagram. I'm like, how did that happen? I didn't even know how. It's like, didn't even need to go to that app. I just did it again. So being more intentional with like separating myself from devices, and like when I usually do the cooking and for dinner and stuff, and you know, when Caitlin gets home, I'll immediately hand her sage, be like, your turn, you know. But I'll start cooking and then be like, you know, just ask her about her day, try to like pour into the relationship and try and connect in that way. And then we'll sit down for dinner, and we won't have any TV on or anything, and we're just kind of like telling stories. And usually it's, you know, very light and fun, and you know, we'll make each other laugh. And I think that kind of winding down that way together is the best for me. And it's not always that way, because I'm always having to make edits and stuff. So sometimes we'll do that, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go work my second shift now through the night so we could put this video up. But I feel like that's like just the separating myself from the device helps a lot to kind of wind down. And that's like one of the other things I had to break, was just leaving the phone outside of the bedroom too. That's been a good way to wind down, because like when we're on the road, I'll be on there, but like when I'm at home, I try to like definitely make sure that I'm putting that away.
For me, it's there's two scenarios. There's the dream scenario, and this happens on occasion, fairly often when we're on when we're on top of it. We'll put the kids down while one of us is putting them down. The other will do the dishes, get the house kind of sorted. And then what I loved for a while, we were doing a sauna session at night, my wife and I. So like, we're not watching shows, we're having conversation and getting this nice, healthy reset for the day and involved with one another. If we're not doing that, then we're going downstairs and we're watching a show together and hanging out. But really trying to have intentional time with my spouse, with my wife. If I have to work or I'm on the road, I have a really hard time going to sleep if I've been working, if I've been creative. So I actually find almost the opposite, where I need a device to distract me from thinking about what I've been trying to work on. Because if I can't get my mind off of work, I won't be able to sleep. So I have to like watch a show or dumb my mind down with like a game on my phone before I can completely turn it off to go to sleep. Otherwise, I'll be thinking about like, okay, how do I make this story better? What do I need to set up for tomorrow that's not arranged for right now? I'm thinking about all the things that I need to organize for not only the story of our video, but for the back end of how do we get to point A to point B.
One thing that and I didn't really think it was like a habit or like a ritual until I started being intentional with it. And I think it's now that our kids are old enough where they get an allowance, and part of their allowance getting is clearing the dinner table. So what my wife and I have been doing, which has just been so good, not only for just our relationship, but just like it kicks off the wind down routine for me, is instead of like eating dinner and then everybody kind of getting up and like cleaning, you know, bringing their plates over, whatever, Donna and I sit at the dinner table for like 20 to 30 minutes together and just talk. And so kind of like your sauna session, I feel like that piece of time that I get with my wife is like really where I'm able to just like decompress. And I love talking about in your journaling in the morning, like thinking about what you did yesterday. Before I really started being intentional with this 20 to 30 minute period of time with my wife, like I don't think my wife knew anything about my days, right? Because like it's just like, talk about work, like how exciting is that for my wife, right? But come to find out that like she didn't know shit. And it was like I was like living this double life where I was like coming home and like, I have this little buffer period of time where, I travel a fair amount too, but when I'm not traveling, like my number one priority is being home for dinner at 6:00. My wife is like super punctual about dinner. So like what I'll do is I'll pull the truck into my driveway, try to get there by 5:55, and I give myself like a 3-minute buffer where I do breath work real quick, box breathing, because the energy, and I'm sure you guys can understand both with kids now, and the energy that you bring in from work is not necessarily the most attractive energy for your wife and kids, right? Because it's like this, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like this, and at home, it's like this, and I realized that a few years ago, I came in with this energy and I like snapped at my son, which I never do, but I was on my phone and it was right before dinner and I knew I wanted to be at dinner on time. And I was on my phone trying to finish the last thing. And my son was like, Dad. And I was like, dude, don't you see that? I'm like, and I looked at him and he just looked at me what did I do? And I was like, oh my God. Like, I just like totally destroyed this dude's day. All he wanted was
your attention,
my attention.
Yep.
All he wanted. And I found out that all they want actually is our attention. Like the kids, all they want is our attention. They don't like, it's awesome to get them toys and fun things, but like really at the end of the day, like if they feel loved and supported by their parents, and boys specifically from their dads, because they get unconditional love from their mom a lot, their dads, like they want that pat on the back. And so that pushed me to the little breath work thing where I just like, boom, buffer. And then the 30 minute piece with my wife, like reflecting on the day, like I realized that like I was walking through life doing all sorts of shit during the day, but like never stopping to be like, what did I do? And so having that time with her gives her an opportunity to tell me about her day, my opportunity to tell her about my day, but also reflect on the things that I did that day, So, because I think wind down routine is really important. I really do. I feel like, not everybody has the ability to like have a wind down routine, right? Some people are working all night long and, but I do feel like, with this business, Creatures, and the podcast, what I've really been trying to do is like introduce these different times throughout the day that you can begin to set yourself up for success so that you can show up just a little bit better. And if you're not intentional at all, by kind of thinking through some of these things and hearing from other people, little things that they do throughout the day, you could just kind of like exist and not really live, and I feel like living is so much better.
Yeah.
Where did Buttery Bros come from?
Buttery was just a term that we would say when we'd nail a really nice composed shot, and a lot of that's documentary style or, it was a lot of CrossFit game stuff, but I'd come over to Heber, like, look at the shot, dude, super buttery. He's like, oh yeah, I love it. Like smooth. It was cool. It was like well shot. And so when we were starting our YouTube channel, it was kind of like, well, it's gotta be something with buttery, because I feel like that's kind of like what our aura is, a little buttery aura. And then we landed on Buttery Bros, and that's kind of just where the birth of that all came from. It was just like a term we'd say, and then it turned into our business and identity, I guess.
What's the greatest piece of content you guys have ever made? If you had to choose one.
I mean, greatest piece of content and most fun to make, probably two separate pieces. I think one of our funnest that encapsulates a lot of what we do is I think, what is it titled? The hardest thing we've ever done. It started as a 17-mile paddle around the Nepali coast and ended with hiking to the highest point of Kauai to help raise money and awareness for an awesome cause there with a bunch of friends. Like you had community, you had service, and you had an incredible physical adventure. And the video is a pretty fun recap of the whole thing. For me, that was a great combination of really fun to do and a really important message that also coincides with kind of our baseline, which is making fitness really fun and approachable.
What's the most viral piece of content you guys have ever made?
Probably one of our documentaries. I know like on our YouTube channel, those are usually the ones that pop off because people want to see the best in the world compete and stuff.
Yeah, I think our most viewed on YouTube is the 2023 behind the scenes video that we made. That was essentially a feature-length documentary. But the other thing is we've produced 6 feature-length documentaries that have been on iTunes, Netflix, that are also on YouTube now, I think at this point. But like, I don't know the total number of views that those each have individually. So they might even be more than what our YouTube has.
Austin, can you give me some? Can you just grab me those bars?
We're gonna taste test.
All right, so I'm gonna give you guys these bars. Now they're gonna be a little soft because they're fresh off the press.
I mean,
okay.
that's the only way I'd take them, you know?
The
Can you
daily
grab me
bar.
one more, actually.
Daily bar. Oh, you got creatine in here. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's
Creatine in the bar.
It's 20 grams of protein, 3 grams of
Let's look at the
creatine.
macros here.
Super clean.
20 protein, 28 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat. Okay, so this is kind of like a good to go bar, maybe a little less fat than like a perfect foods bar. I've never had a bar with creatine that I know.
No, I didn't.
I know there's some debates about creatine gummies.
There are.
I just know that they're there. I've never actually had a creatine
fresh off
gummies that I've
the
enjoyed.
brush there.
Are we waiting to do this? Or
Oh.
you just dove in.
I thought you were going. It's soft.
I think very soft.
It's peanut buttery. It's creamy.
Good texture.
A little crunch, a little crisp. What are those? So is that a?
So there's peanuts in there.
That's a Rice Crisp.
There's Rice Crisps, rice protein crisps, and also peanut chocolate chips.
Yeah, it tastes like real peanut butter.
It's 100% real peanut butter.
This would go great with a coffee. I'll tell you right now.
I mean,
Coffee?
I feel like it tastes like a peanut butter cup, like a Reese's peanut butter
It
cup.
really does. Plant protein.
Yeah, so we decided to go plant protein.
Is that just because you eliminate the people that don't?
Basically, I wanted everybody to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and instead of having like a plant and a whey, I thought it was just easier to just keep the company plant-based, you know? Even though there's definitely going to be some whey people that are like, I only use whey protein. I thought there'd be less people that are like, I only use whey, and more people that are like, I'm down to just have whatever,
Yeah.
you know, as long as it's getting me 20 grams of protein. So honestly, what do you think? You guys are the first people to ever try that protein bar.
That's a great bar. I think it tastes really good.
It's a good bar. I'll say this. I don't love plant proteins because I feel like I can taste the texture of them a lot. So I think I have to it's like training your kids to enjoy different types of foods. Like I haven't had enough of them to be able to say like, oh, I don't mind that. Every time I have them, I notice it. And so it stands out. That said, this is a delicious bar. And if you don't mind that texture, I think it's great. I just haven't taught myself to be able to enjoy plant
That's
texture
good feedback.
Yeah.
We used actually a brown rice protein for this.
Yeah, that's the second listed ingredient or the top one.
Yeah, we use that because a lot of plant proteins can influence flavor a lot, right? And so for a protein bar, I really wanted the flavor to be as neutral as possible from the protein. Obviously, whey protein, you can't really taste much, and if anything, it's going to add like a good flavor profile because dairy obviously is tasty. But the brown rice protein really sort of neutralized the protein profile, and so I thought I'm like, honestly, I literally picked these up today. This is like the first time anybody's tasted them.
Yeah.
And
It's kind of like a fast break, a Reese fast break a little bit.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a fast break, and I like fast breaks.
Yeah,
I
and it's
don't
crazy
even know what
though.
a fast break is.
I have a history with this. They marketed it to my high school for some reason. They just delivered cases, and I was a student body officer because I was a nerd in high school and still am. And I had access to these bars that they looked like breakfast bars. So it was like they're kind of diving into trying to have breakfast bars. I crush those every day for breakfast. Not a great breakfast bar for if you're looking for health. Just a lot of sugar and carbs.
It's wild though. Back then, you knew when you were eating a protein bar because protein, like even the flavors, and even like
they weren't
drinking
protein bars. They were just.
It was like, oh yeah, there's that flavor, there's that. But whatever the science is that they've been able to come up with now, it's like, oh, these actually taste great. Like you would never know.
I feel like there's obviously a lot of protein bars out there, right? And when I had sort of made the announcement that I was making a protein bar, people were like, oh dude, why would you do that? Like you're stepping into like the wolf's den, My answer back was like, how many people stock protein bars in their pantry? Not a lot, right? Like a protein bar is like, you're at the airport, boom, protein bar. You're at the gas station, you're gonna grab a protein bar. Not a lot of people keep protein bars in their pantry. And I think there's a lot of reasons as to why, but I think a big one is that a lot of protein bars, the sugar, alcohol in protein bars, and the majority of protein bars out there, honestly, like mess with your gut, right? Like it's a quick protein hit, but a lot of the bars are made with sugar alcohols that are like not easy on the gut when you're eating them every single day, all day. And so I just wanted to make a bar that people were gonna stash in their pantry. That was kind of like the idea, right? Like it's like, hey, let's make a bar that's not gonna be tough on the gut. I'm gonna sacrifice having like, 150 calorie bar to a 260 calorie bar because we're gonna use real stuff and, and then add creatine. And I think the creatine piece, there are a few bars out there with creatine, but not a ton, and not like behind, brands that are really pushing for it.
I feel like creatine's the new Brussels sprouts. Like it's having a moment right now.
It is definitely having a moment.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's on that creatine.
Yeah. Like the recent science coming out about its cognitive benefits is pretty awesome.
It is, but you also have to have like 20 grams of creatine.
So why not get 3 from your protein bar and 5 from your pre-workout?
You got to have 20 grams. Like that's what they're saying. They're saying 20 grams of creatine for the cognitive benefits. And I think that's like, if you're traveling, I think like some of the studies have been, it's amazing for jet lag, right? Like if you're traveling, you just like dry scoop like a bunch of creatine when you land. And like it really, really helps kickstart your cognitive stuff. But I think 20 grams of creatine is a lot to take on a daily basis,
Yeah,
but
I haven't dosed that much.
Yeah, I'm like
I'll have to test it out.
3 to 5.
3 to 5, yeah. I think 3 to 5 is the thing. So I was trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone with this. So I think we'll stand out. I mean, I'm honestly very happy with the way this thing came out. I was super nervous. I as you guys know, I mean, you guys have a supplement company in Podium. Like when you make, how many different products do you guys make?
It's quite a few.
I'd say 7 to 10 SKUs.
7 to 10 SKUs.
It's kind of changing, and we have ones that are on the way that haven't been announced yet. So I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it goes, right? Like you're an R&D for a long time with these things, and then like when you go to make them, you just pray that it's going to be as good as you want it to be.
Right, like you'll taste something in the lab, and
totally.
They'll send you a bottle of it later, and it doesn't taste at all like what you're like, hey, what happened between point A to point B for this to have changed this much? Because this isn't at all what we had discussed.
It's hard. It's hard because you're not making it yourself. Mm-hmm. And so like for this bar, I mean, I have realistically been in R&D for 2 years on the bar. Damn. Probably gone through 60 different iterations. And, it's not a powder, right? Like it's a bar. So it typically when somebody mixes a powder with liquid, which is what a lot of the stuff that you guys make, there's like more wiggle room there, right? They're typically using it for like a very specific purpose. Obviously it has to taste good. But like this, if this doesn't taste good, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like like people like a pre-workout, and I love your guys' pre-workout. like I really look forward to the taste of the pre-workout. And I'm using it very specifically for a purpose. For this is like, people have a billion things to choose from for a snack. You know, they can grab fruit, they can grab a billion other protein bars. If it doesn't taste good, I'm totally screwed. So like when that thing came off the line and I like grabbed one and I tried it, I was like, thank you, God. Thank you so much for just like making this one taste good.
Yeah.
I guess last question that I would ask is, you know, in the world of content, you guys are deep in the world of content and you've been super successful in it, and you've built this cult following of humans that really just look forward to the stuff that you put out there. What do you think it is in the content that you guys make that has just grabbed so much of, like, have grabbed people's, I don't want to say attention, because I mean, it is attention, but like, people love you guys. I don't even, like, when I think of the Buttery Bros, I don't even think necessarily of content. I think of like soul, like a culture of you guys bringing like life to things. So what do you think that is? How do you think you've really been able to resonate so well?
I mean, I think, you know, we're kind of ordinary dudes, you know, like average athletes. And I think that we just make the subject fun, you know, no matter what it is. I think we have a good way of, you know, collaborating on when we're making these, and, you know, Julian too, when he's with us. And I think that we've been able to kind of bridge the gap between like some of the most elite athletes in the world to like present them in a way that is like humanizes them and makes them appear to just be like normal people like us, you know? So there's that. And then I think that if we're doing, you know, ridiculous challenges, we're totally fine to humiliate ourselves and make ourselves like, you know, look human as well. And I think that that fun aspect that makes the overall like content and the fitness of it fun, and not make it feel like too daunting or scary, or like I need to be X athlete or I need to perform this certain thing. You know, I think that just taking whatever your ability is and making it approachable and enjoyable, you know, for us in the content, because we have a lot of fun making it. And I think that is presented in the finished product, that those guys are just having fun. And like, you know, I think that it would be fun to be a part of that and come hang out with them, you know, because sometimes we'll field people like, you want to be in this video? And they do. And the whole time it's just kind of like, you know, come hang with us and we'll show you a good time.
Yeah, I think I've said this a lot, that fitness to me is recess for adults. It's our playtime. And anytime we go to the gym or we go do these things, we're genuinely having a really good time. And that's when I'm having the most fun, especially when we're in production. And that's the type of content I enjoy making the most. And so I think we bring that energy to our channel or our content or in person, because it's very real and authentic to who and what we are. And we just love having fun while doing fitness, while training.
Dudes, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on. Really, I really appreciate you making the time. If the audience wants to follow along your journey and they're not already, where would they find you?
We are Buttery Bros on YouTube, Instagram. We have a TikTok that sometimes we'll post to. Those are the three easiest places to find us right now.
And like, if they want to see you, do you have any events that you guys are going to be showing up at anytime soon that people can?
We will be at the Desert City Classic in Arizona this week. We just announced that. We're going to be there for a day. And then we'll be at the next scheduled event that we will be at is the World Fitness Project in Copenhagen in December.
Awesome. I was supposed to be in Copenhagen in December. My wife is Danish, so we go there often. And we spend Christmas there. It's a very cool place. Have you guys been there?
I've not.
Never been to Denmark or Copenhagen.
Oh, man.
Very excited.
During Christmas. So Christmas starts there, December 1st. You are good. You are so stoked.
It's very like around the Christmas markets and everything.
It is like the best place to celebrate Christmas.
Cool.
You got to make sure to get a traditional Christmas luncheon while you're there, because the food is bomb.
Luncheon.
Yep.
Oh, and then one more. I don't even know if you know, but we're doing a HYROX in Houston in March.
Cool.
So
I did not know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you gonna compete?
Well, my partner, she's just coming back from having a kid, so she's wanting like a goal to set and like something to like train for. And we had, Matt and Sammy, they're gonna be there, and so they were like, hey, we should like do partners and race and stuff. And I was like, Caitlin, you want to do this? Want to train for this? And she's like, yeah, I do. So I was like, let's go do it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And we'll just keep following you. And you guys make such great stuff. Bring so much fun to the world of fitness, and it's incredible. So,
Thanks, man.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it for you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Creatures of Habit Podcast. I appreciate you. I love you. You know how much I appreciate you guys watching these episodes, especially all the way till the end. If you haven't subscribed, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. And only rent I ask you guys to pay for listening to or watching the Creatures of Habit Podcast is to share the podcast with a friend or a family member. It means the world to me. And if you're feeling super generous, a 5-star rating and a review would be awesome. If you're going to write a bad review, just shoot me a DM instead. I would really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. Until the next one, peace.